useful in terms of progression. That's where we are. Shall we start?
Yes, please.
Cool. Let's do that.
So it should be all set up properly. I think I've set up all the dominoes, so it should work. I'll put my headphones on so
you can hear the adorable RoboVio that I'm already burnt out on.
Maybe dying.
Here's a loading screen disguised as the Earth. Oh, I had to click. That's fine. Now we're in a different planet for reasons. Cool. So this is Offworld Trading Company. If you guys haven't heard anything about it, it's sort of an RTS. By which I mean a StarCraft-alike, if you've never heard the phrase RTS, except you don't actually fight people.
You trade them.
You fight them in the way that, like, GE might fight Dodge. This is sort of a capitalism and market simulation game. You are competing economically.
GMC.
I think those might be the same company if you go far enough up the chain.
Oh, really?
More like companies with competing products competing for just marketing.
Anyway, I'm not trying to...
yeah, no worries.
This isn't about the real world. This is about space.
Oh, man. Drax, like, he thinks I'm a third of the way through my Stellaris game. I don't even know, man. I got, like, 12 planets and, like, 30-something pops. And
Taylor's like, you have droids? Is that contagious?
There's a version of droids that are contagious, actually. Yeah, there's an endgame event in that game where all the robots in the universe decide to revolt, and it becomes all of the politics stop mattering, and now you have to fight the robot death army.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. There's that whole game. Ugh, I can't.
How do they test this game if it takes like 30 hours?
They put it in early access for a long time. Also, it's Paradox, so they have a ton of fans, and it's the same engine they've used for like a decade now.
Wow.
Let's do difficulty 1 below standard so that I might actually win. I've yet to win. I've gotten really close to winning in this game. I haven't actually won yet. 20 pops and 12 planets. All right. Apparently, I'm not that far along yet. God damn it! I thought I was close. Psi. Map type doesn't matter. Random preset map. Nope, doesn't matter. Map C doesn't matter. A players 3. That's fine. Let's do it.
So this is about founding a business, but StarCraft style.
This is sort of like you've been told to open a franchise for a business. You are in the business of supplying necessary goods to a space colony that otherwise wouldn't have them.
Soup?
Food. It's a little more abstract than that, but sure, soup.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool.
Space soup.
Now this is just the Q Games had that soup making space game.
God, what game was that?
I forgot what it's called now.
Okay, immediately pause. This is one of those games where it's okay. They do a really interesting thing in that you can play and pause, and yet it's still stressful, which is kind of fascinating somehow.
Stressful while XCOM 2 is pretty good at that too.
Yeah,
stressful while
it's got that sort of like, how am I going to approach this? I don't really know. It's one of those. All right, so first thing that you do is you scan. Or you're supposed to.
Nom Nom Galaxy. Thank you, Chronatosis, for thinking of the name of that game.
Okay, there we go. So when I unpause, okay, it's on auto pause. So the first thing you do is see the colony. You get to look at it and see.
Oh, so that is not yours. That's your customer.
So imagine if somebody else is playing like space, or this guy's playing Planet Base.
Yes. And you're playing a different game on top of his game of Planet Base.
Weirdly precise, yes.
Okay.
For more information on why that was actually pretty funny, please go check out Geoffrey's previous stream on Planet Base, where we kind of did this before.
Which also stars Brian.
Cool. So I can look at this base and see that they have a bunch of machine shops which consume electronics. You can actually see in the little point 2 on that little UI widget. They have a bunch of habitats which consume water and food and oxygen. And on the left, we have just this huge array of resources, more than most games, where I get to see the price they're currently trading at. And that little blue rectangle behind all of them is actually the historical price graph in recent history. And so if somebody's offloading all of their gas to like drop the price, you can actually see it plummet.
Like an angle there?
Yeah, wow. It totally will be a thing. So right now, like, chemicals are worth a lot, food is worth a lot, water is really undervalued, aluminum is undervalued, and electronics are undervalued. White equals this is fine, green equals this is expensive and is worth a lot, red equals this is not going to make you a lot of money.
Cheap crap.
Calvin, you're probably right. I have no idea how long it's going to take. I might even bring in my game just so you can all see it and you can literally tell me how far I am because I have no clue. It's like half a dozen of us are playing the game right now. So these little glowy pillars of light are unidentified resources. These little icons laid over the map are saying, this is the kind of resource you will expect to find if you continue scouting in this area.
There's aluminum there.
Yep, so that's aluminum. This is, I think, carbon.
Or aluminium for our British viewers.
This is water. This one is, I believe, silicon, which is a little Triforce for some reason. So everybody gets to like run scans. Scans cost a small but finite amount of time. And the AI is basically simulating exactly what I'm doing. There's advantages to settling first, but the disadvantage to settling first is you might not have seen the whole map, and so there's this interesting risk-reward at the beginning of the game where you're scouting around until you think you found something good enough, and then you immediately want to, like, plop your little colony down and start selling
So
stuff.
I noticed there's little bars appearing on the left side. Has that how much of the resource you found?
Those are, I found 35 low water deposits, 2 medium, and then 2 large.
Gotcha.
If I build a facility on those that actually yields resources, I will get more of them from a high deposit.
Gotcha. But that water's really cheap, and that's why it's really cheap, probably because
One of
there's
the reasons.
zillions of water deposits.
Yeah, and that depends like map to map. This is like a civilization style, different scarcity every time.
So if we see something pop up in one of the green sections, we'll feel pretty happy about that.
Green sections?
One of the green resources.
Sure, except you can't actually mine food or chemicals, you have to make them.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's more like I will
That's
have
why
to build a
they're so
supply chain for
expensive.
that. A crazy thing, you don't pick your faction until you settle, and then the faction is chosen within the map after the map is started. Different factions have different building requirements for expansion and different advantages and disadvantages. You can actually see, like, Reclamation Industries is a bunch of prisoners on 5-year work off your indentured servitude contracts, because vaguely dystopian sci-fi. They have lower...
This is going to be like Prison Architect, isn't it?
Yes,
Maybe
but
not quite.
it will be the same kind of thing, but it will be a less intense version of the thing. So Reclamation Industries is a bunch of people basically working off their prison sentences or debt. They have lower safety standards, so it's cheaper for them to build. They can build out of raw carbon. The Science faction, which is much better at like research and amping up their own production, has to build with steel and aluminum and glass, which is more expensive. But they have some other advantages for that. Robots don't need food or oxygen, which is really good for logistics. And they get a bunch of other force multipliers, but they desperately need energy or the whole thing goes to crap. And there's a whole black market mechanic where you kind of screw with other people's stuff, and robots are really unhappy if you take away their energy. And in the middle is the sort of generic capitalist, make a bunch of money faction.
Pull yourself up by your suspenders.
Literally, this guy runs a tutorial, and the final tutorial, if you win it, from this guy, the phrase on screen is "Make Mars Great Again."
Nice. Awesome.
There's just a bunch of Trump jokes, which for me will stop right now. So everybody needs steel except the
At some point, they
Reclamation
stop
guys.
being jokes.
At some point, it becomes just sort of like, how expensive is Canada?
Yeah, it becomes dystopian sci-fi.
I actually have a friend who's moving. They also have different amounts of size. This guy requires 6 hexes. These guys require 5. I think these guys are like 5 in a different configuration. The robots have the smallest one, which means the robots are literally better able to like fit into weird spots on the map. You can also
is the AI basically doing the same number of scans as you?
I think it's simulating it. It's every time I do a scan, the AI is
a
simulating
chance of
a
them-
comparable amount of information, and then increasing their chance to settle. You can also see in the top right, this whole screen. This is the price that my stocks are trading
They can't
for.
see the top right.
Anytime
Anytime you want to choose this one, that'll put us in the bottom right, and then you'll lose focus on the game. But you can go back.
Perfect. That's actually so. Until we do black market, I'm going to leave our faces there because
Okay.
black market is currently being covered by our faces. So this is what the price my stock is trading for is at, and how many shares of my own stock that I own. Because I'm not on middle difficulty, I still have an advantage, and then I start with twice as much of my own stock as the AI, which is totally huge, but won't matter for like 20 more minutes because that's the way this game works. You win by buying everybody else out. That is the only way to win in this game. That is the only thing this game is actually about. But there's a bunch of different phases before you get there. So odds are good I'm going to want access to iron and steel because those are common construction materials in the early game and they tend to become highly sought after. All the red stuff is iron. This is good. I don't know if I found any non-low iron deposits yet. So keep scouting around. Lots of aluminum and iron, which is good. And aluminum and water over here. I've got silicon and water over here, and there's a little bit of carbon. Choosing where to settle is actually really hard. We will probably just shotgun it before too long to keep things moving. We'll see how long it is before one of the AI builds a base, at which point I will feel seriously pressured to just make a call. Hey, it just happened. There's that. So much
the same
aluminum.
crap.
See, now all the AI are like crossing that threshold where they're settling. So that's silicon, and that should be some carbon. There are not a lot. All right, so I did find some mid-tier iron over there. And of course, that's exactly where somebody else settled, because as soon as they found it, they were like, that's what I needed. This corner of the map is now a little occupied. Shipping costs for goods is a thing.
So you don't want to be too far away from the colony?
Correct. The closer you settle to the resources you want, the cheaper it is for you to earn them, basically. And so you spend less money and resources getting the stuff that you need to survive. So there's a ton of aluminum here. So robots need steel and aluminum, otherwise I would just drop them on top of that pile of aluminum. Is this all the iron I found on the whole map is in this little corner? So that's scary, but also interesting, because it means almost everybody's going to have to go over there unless I play as the faction that doesn't need steel, which is starting to feel very compelling, because I get to have different requirements than everybody else. So food needs water. Everybody needs aluminum. I have a little bit of aluminum right there, but I'm not a fan of how big the deposits are.
I'm not seeing what your carbon. What does carbon look like?
Carbon is the little black thing. There's very little of it on the map. So it's usually in craters because that's the thing in the universe.
Oh, okay.
Craters bring carbon to places that didn't have it before. Let's do one more scan over here. I don't think I can fit both of those in the same one. Okay, so now everybody else has now plotted their thing. I'm the last one because I'm slow. And there goes someone else taking the spot I was thinking of. Almost everybody is in the same corner of the map right now. So that's...
So if have they chosen their factions?
Yes, and I can actually tell from these icons. So this guy went regular capitalist, this guy went science, this guy went criminal. So robots are untaken.
So do you have to choose an untaken one, or can you
no, you can actually have duplicates.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. So I was probably going to do reclamation just because my access to iron is going to be incredibly limited. Unless I can claim that before somebody else, which is actually a thing. Chat. What sounds cooler? Robots, science, capitalism, prisoners.
So whoever can get an answer first will make the decision for us.
Yeah, Taylor, we also don't put the extra I in aluminum, so we spell it the way we've been saying it, and so we've made ourselves correct over time. Haha. Yeah, it is interesting. It's interesting in unusual ways, which helps to keep it interesting.
Yeah, actually, I wonder, I wonder how other, because the word aluminum or aluminium is, I presume, taken from Latin.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, nice.
So I found iron and silicon.
And there's water and stuff pretty close.
The robots are happy with iron and silicon. They need both of those things.
We got to vote for robots, but there was also a vote for criminals. Drac voted for criminals, Calvin voted for robots.
Okay.
We don't feel as channeled into criminals anymore, and there isn't a robot on the...
I think robots is going to be a pretty good one.
There we go.
Okay, we're
Calvin,
back.
We are
Calvin. Robots.
Calvin wins the contest.
Robots it is. Okay, so I want to settle probably in here somewhere. I actually want to settle on flat land because having stuff attached to your base is a requirement for certain facilities.
Drac wins too now because Drac switched sides to robots.
Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to try and split the difference between like this whole area, which is actually pretty nice. It's not great for me to be in a canyon.
Do you need to worry about is going up and down canyon walls hard, impossible?
So you never have to worry about units. This whole game is buildings.
Oh, okay. So it's not even like building roads or anything like that?
No, everything flies. You're in space. Why are there be roads?
Oh.
So you guys will see in a second. So let's go like right about here. This when you settle, you also like yank all the resources out of the ground there for like a quick early influx. So that can be kind of useful. The aluminum will be expensive for us, but I'll be really good at silicon, water, and iron. So let's plop down right there. Cool. Now we're playing.
Robots.
So now the whole map wakes up. Because it's no longer important that I had made that decision. But everybody else dove on the small supply of iron they found in this corner, and so now
you've got this exclusive
I have like
pile
this
over here.
whole corner of the map and a bunch of resources stuff.
Nice.
Crackling mic keeps fading in out of.
Oh.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll try to recycle the mics here. Hold on.
Okay.
We will be silent for a moment, and Brian will make some decisions.
Boop, boop.
Oh, wait a minute. You're saying the problems with the game audio was crackling.
That's kind of okay. The game has RoboVO and a lot of other weird not done stuff.
It sounded okay. I mean, the VO doesn't sound too weird to me, but it definitely doesn't sound crackly.
Okay. Let's see. So what do I need to expand? I need aluminum and steel and electronics. I have enough electronics, so mainly aluminum and steel are ways that I can get access to more tiles. Steel mills are how I make my metal into steel that I can actually use. So the first thing I'm probably going to do is get the highest test metal supply that I can get, which is this guy over here, and we'll build that. Now you guys will see that little minus 0.16 and electricity.
Yeah.
Robots don't use fuel to power their vehicles, they use electricity for everything. So electricity also has to be bought. Anytime you need to consume a resource in this game and you don't have any of it, it is automatically purchased at market rate. Let that sink in for a second.
Okay.
So the game will never be like, I can't build this, you don't have enough. All it will ever say is, you don't have enough money to buy your way around the problem. Because this game is always about reducing stuff down to money. I'm saying it sounds like XSplit.
Yeah, so Calvin thinks it's XSplit. Chronotosis says it's the mics, and when you say it's the mics, does that mean that we fixed it when we just turned off and on the mics? If it's fixed, that's great. If not...
Less great.
Less great, yeah. I mean, we could try turning down the audio on the game so you're just listening to our voices. If it's game audio that's getting messed up. Let us know what you need us to do.
Yeah.
Of course, I could also switch, I could go preview us on Twitch myself and see what I'm hearing.
It's true. Alright, so now I've got a really good iron supply built up there.
Okay, so turning off and on the mics made the crackle stop temporarily, but did not fix it.
Do we have to, is something like barely plugged in or something?
Oh, I have no idea.
Now I need aluminum. Aluminum supplies are over here.
Let me listen to it myself a little bit, and we'll. Anyway, you keep playing. You keep showing us how to play this game.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to solve our problems live.
Can you guys still hear me enough that this is like an interesting thing, or are we so noisy that you're just hearing garbage sounds and this is not even an intelligible sentence?
I need to start paying for the adless Twitch instead of listening to an ad.
Yeah. We got 4 left, so we'll grab that. I'm gonna need some power supply quickly. So let's get some energy going.
Oh yeah, it's just this little constant buzz.
So they can still hear us. We're not like hosed.
Yeah, they can hear us. It's just I'm gonna quickly turn it off and on again and wait longer this time. See if that makes a difference. If that doesn't make a difference, then yeah, we might be stuck with the buzz, and I'm sorry about that. Okay, we're back on again. We'll see how that goes.
Cool. Alright, so robots also give force multipliers to anything next to power sources. So I'm actually gonna like seemingly poorly use my resources here by putting power stuff on top of iron tiles, because I'm gonna get more bonus iron out of the force multiplier than I would have out of actually putting a mine there. People are saying it's better?
Yeah, I think we fixed it.
Cool.
At least for now. Maybe it'll get worse later. I don't know.
Alright, so that's a bunch of stuff. So I've got an aluminum supply, I've got a steel supply, I've got energy supply.
So, okay, so what is it you've been doing this whole time?
I've been placing my little... So I basically have been saying, I would like to build this here, I would like to build this here, I would like to build
so you're placing little buildings,
Yes.
and it's presumed that there are little flights going back and forth between
So currently we're paused. This is a game where
Okay.
time matters super much in terms of efficiency.
Okay.
So you kind of want to set all your buildings down before you ever unpause it, and then let all of them just start coming into existence, because otherwise you're being inefficient.
Gotcha.
It's a game largely about efficiency. That's kind of why we're here. So, with all of that going, I don't quite have enough money to start building my own electronics or glass, although I have steel and silicon. I think I have... Did I build a silicon thing somewhere? Let's see. That looks like silicon. Yes, so I'm going to have silicon and I'm going to have aluminum. So I actually have enough that I can start making my own electronics or glass. Mostly I want to wait for my aluminum and steel supply to come in so I can upgrade my base again. Every time you upgrade your base, you are given more units of land that you can claim. You're literally buying the claims. Like this is the Old West.
Where do we see like the limits to how many you can claim?
Right here. This is how many I have left, and every time you upgrade your base, you get access to more claims, and you unlock more specialty buildings.
And these icons alongside the resources, are those things you can manufacture out of the resources?
This is something you can build to harvest it.
Oh, okay. So you've been clicking those to...
So if I click this, here's the building that will give me this resource. Here's a building that will give me this resource.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Also, for like, there's some stuff for like, if I don't have any access to carbon, I can build a solar condenser, which just pulls it out of the air, literally, but slowly. If you run out of money when expanding, can you sell buildings? No, I think actually tearing buildings down doesn't give you anything back. You get to sell resources. This is a game that wants you to worry about going broke, but usually you've got a bunch of resource income, so you can sell resources to make money when you need to. So now I'm going to let this run at actually like the fastest speed, and now you can see all these little ships immediately popped out. I think you can learn about them, but they don't matter, because that's more or less just the game showing you here's the frequency at which things are happening. So now all my little constructors are popping around, all my little constructions are getting started. I've probably been the first to build certain kinds of buildings. I have all this wonderful little stuff happening. Somebody's upgrading over here. I'm already now earning silicon. This is super fast once you unpause it. My turbine's up, and now you can see all these little things popping off there are me earning resources at breakneck speed.
Wow.
You'll also notice I have debt. This is a game with debt. When you buy stuff...
And debt is separate from your cash on hand.
Correct. And
interesting.
So here's a really cool thing. You can have arbitrarily large amounts of debt, but you can't directly spend credit against debt. Debt comes from purchasing things that you needed and couldn't afford, like electricity, or in certain cases, automatic resource supplies. Now you'll see on screen it says I have better or worse bond ratings at certain amounts of debt. This is the thing. This is words in a real game. You can pay money for it. I have this experience. If your debt is really high, it devalues your stock price and makes it easier for your opponents to buy you out.
Oh, gotcha.
So by buying down your debt, you can make yourself more expensive.
So debt is it's like a hazard. It's like you're taking on a certain...
Debt is a tool that can serve you really well because it allows you to get leverage beyond what your cash can do, just like in real life business. This is a thing that you do. But it has the risk of if you get too reliant upon it, it just sort of devalues you in general, and then people can screw with you. So you can now see, here's the rates at which I'm earning each of these resources, and here's I think this is actually the sale price, and then this number is how many I have on hand. So I don't actually have enough steel on hand yet to count, like the first shipment hasn't shown up at my home base, but I will be earning it at 2.06 steel per second, but it's going to show up in like a huge clump. So there we go, my first shipment of aluminum just got delivered. You can also see on the upgrade screen those little, like, the prices next to everything. That's what it would cost to buy enough to solve this problem straight away. So because I can buy and sell anything at any time if I have money for it, right? I can hit here to sell aluminum and hit here to buy aluminum. I can just use this button to directly buy the steel and aluminum I would need to finish this project and immediately queue it up. It's just an efficiency thing. Let's give you a question from Drac. So you can lose by being bought out by another company. Are you allowed to reject bids for purchase, or does your board auto-ride you automatically?
Reject bids, I guess.
Yeah, you're basically publicly traded. You don't have any control over it. You can buy shares in your own company to get something.
Like protect yourself?
Sort of. And when you buy 50% of your own stock, it doubles the cost of that stock to others. It's sort of just a little game mechanic-y thing. You don't really have control over your stock in the way you would expect in a hyper-realistic simulation, but it's realistic enough. Basically, when people buy 50% of your stock, then they get to hostile take over you, and it's sort of like you're out. So you want to buy yourself up to 50% because that turns on this little lock icon, which makes everybody else have to spend more money to buy you. But you're not allowed to reject bids for purchase. People buy you by buying you. It just kind of happens.
So it looks like your stock is already more valuable than any of the your competition.
I don't get to see how much stuff anybody else has. I can say that I'm running a deficit on energy while we're at night because one of my things was a solar panel. So at night, I'm actually losing 0.81 power per second, which means I'm buying 0.81 power per second.
And that's making your debt go up. Yeah, makes your debt go redder.
Right. So you can actually see now it's night. Debt. The tutorial doesn't explain debt to you until it has you use it.
Interesting.
It's really clever, actually. They get you to see what the purpose is before they tell you what it was costing you because people are so afraid of debt. Like, this is a thing that people fail at business in real life and don't understand how to use leverage.
And in politics.
So many things. Not going to talk about them. Yeah, long story short, debt is a useful tool for leverage. It lets you expand out and then pay back in excess of what it cost you. Can you sabotage them via stockholder demands? Not right now, but you can buy other companies.
That's how you win, right?
Yeah, and you can sometimes team up. You'll see everybody will go in on one company to buy them out to make them lose, less than to make the individuals win. So now I have enough money / resources to afford a glass kiln or an electronics factory. I'm going to build an electronics factory because I need those to expand. And if I build it adjacent,
and that doesn't need to be built on a resource or anything.
Correct,
like that.
But if I build it adjacent to something that supplies a resource it consumes, I get a massive production bonus.
Oh.
And so in this context, I can get that from the aluminum side or from the steel side. Steel mills are over here. We'll put it right over here, and it'll get a bonus from being next to the power plant. I probably want to build more energy generation, but I'm out of tiles. I have to expand my base first.
So you gotta either earn enough resources or be able to buy enough resources.
Right. Also, this is a thing. Once per day, your interest is recalculated, and your debt goes up. Because debt is basically a credit line.
Yeah.
And so you can actually see here, it should show the interest rate somewhere. It's 4% right now, I just said that. Doesn't really matter too much yet. Alright, so now I'm building my little electronics factory. Let's look at how the markets are doing. So right now, like, everything is sort of in the middle of where you'd expect it to be. Nothing's in like a crazy place. But you can now see some of the price trends that are happening. So like we talked about, steel is needed by everybody to build in the early game, and so since people are buying steel, the price of it goes up. And literally, if I buy, so here I'll make a tiny purchase to show the point. If I buy one steel, eventually it will affect the price. So there we go, the price is up to 98. So the game automatically deduces a price based on demand. So because I bought 4 steel is now worth 98.
But if you start flooding the market with steel, it goes down.
I will sell it back, right? So watch, you should actually, and it's much easier for the price to go down than up. So I sold 1 steel back and now it's at 97. So I've now diminished the value of the resources I have in hand by doing the market exactly wrong.
Gotcha.
But there's definitely a thing in this game where you can buy slowly every couple of seconds and then sell a ton once you up the price, because you sell all at once at the price it was at. And so you can absolutely do stuff that we have an algorithm to basically do this in real life, where you just artificially inflate the price a little bit and then you just tank the whole thing by selling your entire stock. Alright, so let's see. Black market is actually open, but I can't afford anything yet because I don't have cash on hand. The black market lets you screw with people. This is the way in which you actually directly mess with your competition.
Oh yeah.
I can
It
bribe.
is hidden behind our heads, by the way.
Right. So let's move that.
Top view.
Top view. So we don't need to worry about stock prices very much just yet. Let's go back to the game. I can bribe the UN for a claim.
Okay.
That's fun. I can pay some pirates to reroute resources that my opponents should be getting to their base to me instead. I can depower a bunch of buildings temporarily. I can use illegal performance-enhancing drugs for all of my workers to make them work faster with no negative causes, end quote. I can do an underground nuke to diminish the resource supply underground a tile under an opponent's tile. Dynamite just blows up a building that then you have to spend money to repair. And then there's the Goon Squad. Goon squads are the only thing that's defensive in this. You can buy a goon squad on a tile and it's like paying protection money, and then when somebody else tries to do something to that tile, it backfires, and you get the item they spent. So if I goon squad a valuable facility and you try and nuke it, I gain the nuke.
Oh,
So
interesting.
goon squads are preventative, and every time you buy any of these, the price goes up forever for it.
I love the idea
yes,
that...
Granatosis, you can totally use illegal enhancing drugs on your robots.
So yeah, it's super grease. So I love the fact that this game was sort of dry economics for a while until we looked at the black market, and suddenly it's the mafia. It's like funny mafia. Like
Yeah. All right, so now I have enough money / resources. I actually have all the resources I need, so I don't need to spend any money. I can just spend a bunch of my stores to upgrade my HQ. That happened, and now I have more claims. Now I can build more stuff. Although I don't have enough.
Gotcha. So you started with a pretty large number of claims, but then you get smaller doses.
Yes, and different factions get different amounts of claims per upgrade.
So some start small and then grow faster, and other ones start big and then grow slower?
Yep, so like the scientists are the slowest to start, but they get the most in the end. I think the criminals start the fastest, but then slow down the most. I also don't have any carbon supply right now, but there's a thing you can turn on in your buildings.
Bye,
which
Calvin.
basically says, thanks for coming by. This basically says, as long as it's profitable to do so, buy this resource to produce the thing that I'm making. Which is the most, it's a really nice convenience button. So if I have auto supply on, as long as I'm selling my electronics for more than the cost to develop them, including buying the carbon on the spot, it'll auto buy the carbon for me.
Oh, okay.
Which is nice, but it will mean the price of carbon is just going to sort of go up and eventually will bite me in the ass. And so you sort of want to be prepared to get your own supply. That being said, I did not place myself well for mining carbon. And so if I wait a little bit longer, I can build a solar condenser, which gives me both oxygen and carbon, and oxygen's price actually goes up. Now, we're robots, so we don't need oxygen, but we can sell it. So you'll often see robots making food and oxygen to sell them because they don't care. So once we get a little bit more money, we'll buy some glass and make a solar condenser. We also might be able to make our own glass. We actually also have enough supplies for that. There we go. So let's do that first, actually. Let's get some glass manufacturing.
Hey, Drac, did I hear you tweet? Did I read a tweet from you about that game of Dead Star you're talking about? Drac's talking about playing a game of Dead Star last night where his team won 700.01 to 699.98. 0.03 difference between the two teams.
Winning by rounding errors is always astonishing. Alright, so I'm going to place this here. It's not the greatest spot for it. When you place a building, placing another of the same type next to it gives you a huge adjacency bonus, such that clusters of 3 is the most efficient way to make anything. And so I got lucky with my access to all these resources, but these are all canyony, so it's actually very hard to do efficient layouts. And so that's going to bite me a little bit later, but not
The scavenger
yet.
HQ has been upgraded.
Alright, so now so you can see the tier of everybody's HQ right now, or you can see 2 of them, you can see stock prices. I'm at 22.4, which is nice, but I also don't have enough money to buy anybody else. Buying 1 unit of somebody else's stock costs 15 grand. Right now I have $20. So that's not happening
So
for a
it's 15
while.
grand no matter what the actual price of the stock is?
So so this is the stock price, and you have to buy them in units of 10,000 because it's simpler that way.
Oh, gotcha.
So I can't buy a stock 1 unit at a time when there's 100,000 around because that doesn't make the game good.
Yeah.
That just makes it unnecessessily complex. And so
You want to have to save up for it. You want it to be a big deal when you buy stock.
Right.
Not just like
That
slowly
also makes it
nickeling and diming your way to victory.
it makes it much more dramatic too. So there's also some special buildings that everyone can make. When you make a patent lab, then you can do research, which unlocks a bunch of specific techs, which give you weird advantages. Like you can
Thinking
unlock
machines.
Yeah. So if I unlock basically good AI, the benefit of that to me in this context is that it makes sabotage damage go down by half if they are close to my HQ. It's a weird perk. You can research teleportation, and then you don't have to spend any money shipping goods because you freaking warped them. And you get a patent on it.
Do all those little spaceships fly around and just go away?
Yeah. because now your resources are just getting warped away, which also makes you immune to pirates because they can't steal your goods
right.
anymore. You can research water-powered engines, so off-world shipments don't cost fuel anymore. And off-world shipments are what this whole game is actually about. There's this one building called the Off-World Market. When you build it, you can sell stuff to off-world stations.
What does that do to the price?
So there's a separate price for everything in space.
Oh.
So here's what this is trading for on the planet. It's 60 units per. Here's what it's trading for in space. $420 per.
But does it cost more to ship it?
It costs some to ship it. This is the profit I would make on one shipment of those goods if I buy them at market price and sell them to space. So it almost doesn't matter what you're good at because the market in space is going to be unrelated to the market on the surface. And so there comes a point where your business, whose theoretical purpose is to help the colony, just sort of says, that's great, I'm selling to space now.
Goodbye,
and
colony.
now you're just looting Mars to sell to space.
It's kind of like small colonies in the real world just making only cash crops.
Yeah.
And not making food for themselves.
It's like selling cash crops when there's a shortage of food next door.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that happens. There are auctions sometimes. Auctions are interesting. So I'm bidding on a geothermal tile, which basically means I get rights to build on this tile. So I get some free claim, but as a claim on a tile where I can build the geothermal power supply. I'm robots. I care a lot about electricity, so that's really valuable to me. Other people know that, and so in certain cases they will bid against me just to make me spend more money on it. You can actually watch the bid tick down, and then somebody's probably going to buy it.
You can't because our faces are on it.
Oh, damn. Let's switch for that so you guys can actually see what's going on. All right, so now this is the bidding screen. This bar is going to slide to the right. Somebody else bid. I will bid 1,000 more. By the way, this all goes to debt. Obviously, I can't spend 10 grand. I have $20, but I can certainly owe $10,000. And it's actually kind of worth it in the long run sometimes. Like, I'm probably just going to eat a huge financial hit and buy this.
Because it's so valuable for you to have a really consistent supply of electricity.
Yep, so now I have this tile. So as soon as I can afford building this, which will cost me like 10,000 more, or I have to build more steel until I can build the platform myself, it'll then give me plus 2.2 power a turn. Right now I'm losing 0.1, and I will go from buying it from the grid, effectively, to selling it back.
Nice.
Now while it's daylight, or actually power's worth a lot right now. I don't even know what that little down arrow is. That might be like a hard cap enforced by the game that I've never even seen before. So I'm really looking forward to having enough steel to do this. Speaking of which, it might actually make sense to build a steel mill just so that I can do more of that.
I like the really consistent rules about just like in every case, like if something costs resources, you can build and acquire the resources for it, or you can spend money to auto buy. It's just really consistent rule where you look at anything and you know how it works.
It's a whole world that I mean, this is very much like why currency is useful. This is a whole game about efficient markets and efficient conversions and efficiency, and not like the whole game lives and dies by dollar values. So you can translate everything in dollars, which keeps it from getting too complicated. So I need to get a carbon supply. This will cost me like 0.3 energy, which is my entire positive amount right now because it's so far away to ship it. But it's cheaper than building a carbon condenser, which requires glass that I don't have. I can't even buy glass. That must mean that nobody's got any glass facilities going right now. But I remember spawning one myself.
Make it out of silicon, I assume, right?
Let's see. Yes, glass is built out of silicon. I think. Oh, I forgot to turn on auto buy for my glass kiln. It needs silicon and oxygen, and since we're not producing any oxygen, we have to buy it. So now that I've turned that on, if it's profitable, it'll do so. But it might actually not be profitable right now. So something that'll give me both oxygen and carbon is actually super valuable, but nobody anywhere has any glass. And so we're in like a little bit of a predicament. And so it might actually make sense for me to make some of my own oxygen just to get this whole thing started, and then later like rip out the building and put a different one in its place. So this is an electrolysis reactor, which gives you both oxygen and fuel. It consumes power and water. I also don't have a water supply, so this would actually be a little bit sketchy for me, unless I also built the water well. But I could sell all of this back to the market, and so it may make a ton of sense, despite the fact that I'm a robot and I don't need these things. Everybody else does, and I can profit off of that. So let's build a water well and an electrolysis reactor. Of course, now I don't have any actual claims left, so I'll probably have to buy one, or by bribing the UN for it. But that will give me the oxygen that I need to make the glass that I need to get the carbon that I need to make electronics that I need to expand. So then you have this whole...
So you have this whole supply chain in your head.
Yes.
I was like, I know I need this, but there's like 3 steps removed from what I need to actually do.
Yes.
To get the
also, I now have enough steel that I can make a geothermal plant, and so rather than spending horrifying amounts of electricity every turn, I will be able to be the one selling it to everybody else. Let's see, I also have an overwhelming amount of extra silicon because I'm not using it yet. Steel prices are okay. A great way to earn money in this is just to sell goods. So I can earn 4 grand if I just sell off 100 of my aluminum. I can earn 2 grand for selling off some iron. I can earn 4 grand for selling off 43 steel. Silicon's not worth as much as other things right now, but that's probably okay. Let's sell some aluminum. There you go. So that meaningfully hit the price. You can now see this is going to take a little bit of a downturn, right? See those bars just drops? It's like it's going back up again, but I spent a lot of the value of that resource by selling off my stocks. Let's sell off a couple of things too. I don't need that much right now. Cool. So now I actually have some spending money, and now I can bribe the UN for a claim, which I will do. So now I have room to build one more thing.
One extra claim.
Right.
You can keep doing that, but it'll keep getting more expensive.
Correct. You'll notice it now costs 5, and if somebody else buys one, that ups the price too. So that actually means I should now have pieces in place to get the glass I need to build a solar condenser. And I think I might be the only person putting any glass on the market because I couldn't buy it before. That's a business opportunity. Maybe I should make a ton of glass and sell it for a ton of profit. So right now we're building that. I'm earning 0.82 per second, which means that as soon as I get my first deployment back home, when this number shows up, I should be able to build this. It should happen soonish. There we go. Cool. So now I have 60 glass. I can sell all of it for 9 grand immediately, which is actually pretty good for me right now. I'm going to use it first because I really, really need this carbon. Oh wait, these have to be built on ice. So you have to find, the carbon condensers have to be built far enough in the hemisphere of the world to actually have a condensation happen normally. And this version of Mars, I guess, or this plot of Mars, doesn't border the ice on the northern side, only on the southern side. And so I'm going to have to eat a little bit of shipping cost to get it. Because actually, that tile is not too far away. Let's go for that. So that's going to give me a carbon supply, which is finally going to fix that thing.
Wonderful plot of land.
So they're randomly selling this tile. I actually don't care about this one. That's not as valuable to me. One unfortunate thing about the game is you have to watch all the auctions go, and it stops the rest of the game while they're going.
Oh, really? So you don't care about this auction, but it's kind of the only thing going on.
I could bid on it just to like screw with the AI and make it spend more money. You also notice that by now I have $42,000 of debt.
Oh, yeah.
Which has just been accumulating. But I did just finish my geothermal plant, so I should no longer have to spend that kind of money on power. Somebody really needs water right now. I'm spending 32 grand on that, and look at the price of water. It's actually kind of high.
By the way, do you sell your excess power? Is that like
yes?
What that
Power is automatically sold, so I'm earning $110 per something. I don't know what the unit of time there might actually be per second, because everybody else needs power, and I now have extra instead of a deficit.
And so, but that goes into your spending money, not into
I think power might be paying off debt. Because my debt's decreasing now.
Oh, that is true.
Wow, that's effective. Yeah, power is crazy expensive right now, so that geothermal tile is literally going to pay for itself.
Wow.
Which is so that's one of my favorite things about this game is it takes these really intricate, like the baseline complexity to understand economical systems is pretty high, and this game lets you see why they work with like the smallest amount of that complexity I've seen anybody get away with.
That's cool.
So we'll unpause. I'll let the machinations go. All right, so somebody's now buying shares in themselves. They're beginning to shore themselves up for the attacks that they know are not too far away. That's kind of how it starts. Now I need to get one more upgrade here before I can build an off-world market, and then I can make some money. That will be really exciting. So we need more electronics, which we are building now that we have some carbon. We're not building very many of them. Right now, I'm just going to sort of play this resource game until I can upgrade my base, and then we can get back to that part. So during different phases of the game, you might not be constructing much at all. In fairly advanced forms of play, you actually change your buildings out based on current market demand.
Wow.
So right now, steel's not actually doing that great. People have been offloading it, and I kind of want to too. Although I will need a lot of it when I get here, so it might be worth stockpiling it. Fuel. So here's a great thing. I'm not using fuel at all. I built an electrolysis reactor because I needed to get some oxygen. It also produces fuel. Everybody else is using tons of fuel right now, and I'm using none of it. So I can sell 100 of it and pull 15 grand out of my pocket just like that. It cost me basically nothing I needed.
Wow.
By the same token, if I wanted to sell my water, I could do that too. And selling 100 water would buy me 5 grand. So sure, why not? Get rid of it now.
And so you hold shift to sell 100 at once instead of one?
So you can see shift for 100, control for 1, and alt for all.
Oh, right.
You could even do shift control to automatically sell all of it.
And so if you don't hold anything, is it 10?
Yes. So I can actually set my fuel to automatically sell, which it's currently set to do. So it should just be but maybe every time it gets to 10 it sells off. We now have enough whatevers/money.
Well, power surge. What?
Somebody hit me with black
no.
market thing. They power surged my geothermal plant, which means it won't produce power anymore, which means I'm going to have to buy all that energy back from the market again, which means if they have electricity, they're going to now make a huge benefit from it. That's the way it goes.
How long does that last?
Not actually sure. Power surges...
Seems like you should probably goon squad that sucker.
Exactly so.
Later on.
Or we buy the goon squad. Now I'm going to sit on it because I'm going to upgrade my HQ next, and now I'm allowed to build off-road markets. Off-road markets let me earn, in this case, $31,000 from selling fuel per launch, if I can spend 20 aluminum and 20 fuel on the shipment itself. So it's literally saying, in this case, you'd be buying that fuel for 12 grand, you'd be buying the fuel to actually send the shipment for 1.6 grand, and then making 31 grand of profit.
Wow.
I don't have 22K in profits. I have 22K in cash on hand. In the same way that in real life you might have a big credit card debt, but also a checking account. This is my credit card debt, and this is my checking account. Right now, that doesn't speak too well of the company, but it'll get better real quick. I can actually sprint directly into my final upgrade, which is really tempting. But if instead I did this, I could start making lots of money. This is a hard decision, actually.
But Cloudcraft showed up. I wanted to acknowledge him. Hi, Cloudcraft.
Hey, thanks for coming by. Let's see. So I'm actually not getting enough carbon still for the amount of production I'm doing. You can tell that by the negative 0.5 there. Do I get an adjacency bonus for these guys? Oh, I might have if I thought to build them where I could build two together, but instead I went for low shipment costs. So now I'm like paying the price for that. That's disappointing. Let's see. So what else can I do? I could spend 0.3 electricity, getting 1.1 carbon, or I could spend 0.15, getting 0.5. These are actually very similar value propositions, except here I also get oxygen, which is selling really well right now. So I'm thinking this is actually the way I want to go. If I were, I could have built right over here, and then I could get my adjacency bonuses, and those are even cheaper. So this is probably the right way to go. So let's build one of those to get that going. What's up?
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out this.
A lady with a beard.
Yeah, this emoji that Chronotosys just threw into the chat is confusing me.
Yeah. So
it's giving me funny feelings.
Let's sprint towards 5, just so that now I'm done upgrading my base. I have the max amount of tiles I will ever have. But I also totally depleted my resource supply. So now it's going to cost 83 grand to build that market instead of 40, because I spent all the steel I could have used to build it, upgrading my base. But now I can give myself a lot more infrastructure for manufacturing, for example, steel. So I will drop...
So you're just deciding what to wait for, basically.
Correct. And so I'm going to drop another steel plant there. I might even do 2, because I can get some good bonuses out of it. I want to get more electronics going, although they will demand more carbon. But they're selling really well right now, and I do need them. And then we identified previously that glass was high in demand, and so I'll probably do that too. So we're kind of all over the place right now. We're making a lot of little things. I am what you might call diversified, which is pretty nice for this game. How are we on income? So let's let all those stuff get built. You see this little wave of constructors just got sent out into the world.
It's like, go forth, my pretties!
There's also a shortage on carbon right now. That little thing happening right there basically says the price is going to go way up. Now, one of the things you can build is the hacker array, which will artificially manipulate market prices. And so if you need to sell a bunch of something, you can make it suddenly valuable. Or if you need to buy a bunch of something, you can make it suddenly cheap.
Wow.
Now let's see, is this thing still knocked out? Yeah, it is, and I'm spending like horrifying amounts of money towards debt, paying for electricity, because somebody did this. Maybe I will actually use my goon squad over here, because now I'm paranoid. When this comes back, I will buy another goon squad and bank it for when I build my off-world market. Actually, I could also build that hacker array. So what do I have? I have aluminum, which is like, I'm earning a ton of it and it's not worth much. So maybe I want to short that. Ooh, I have a lot of fuel. Didn't we set fuel to auto cell? To shift control to toggle auto cell. Let's see if that works. So, okay, cool. So now I've converted my fuel into income. Just raw by itself. Optimization Center lets you increase how much each facility puts out. The Patent Lab lets you get some of those techs we talked about in exchange for chemicals, which are a resource that you can either buy or build or ignore. The hacker array does the market stuff. I can make a pleasure dome, which just spits money out based on how many adjacent habitats are near it. And so all the different companies compete to provide entertainment to the colony.
Nice.
So let's see. So that'll give me $161 per second if I build that from the tile. That's actually pretty good. So let's do that, because I'm going to need that income if I'm going to get my off-world market. The black market comes online in 4 seconds. I'm going to want to have that 3K so I can buy this goon squad. So what do I have a lot of that's selling really well right now? Glass, like we talked about. That totally worked. Do I need that glass though? See, I need 100 of it to build my off-road market. And so now it's like, do I sell it or do I use it? Or I don't, compromise. That becomes a decision I have to make. I am earning a ton of steel per second, which is great, actually. The music is a bit over dramatic. That's fair.
By the way, Chronotosis, I love how English people use the word fancy as a verb instead of an adjective. I don't know. It's a thing that Americans don't say, and so it always makes me like giggle when I see it in a positive way, in a like, wow, what a cool language sort of way.
I don't think Geoffrey's capable of like having dismissive opinions of people. It's not really his nature. Right.
Certainly not of languages. Languages are always fascinating.
True. All right, so I bought another goon squad. So when I'm able to build my off-road market, I can then protect it. Also, odds are good. God, is this thing still down? It's down for 12 more seconds. I forget how often I'm actually pausing. Also, you'll notice people are buying shares in themselves right now.
Yeah.
This guy bought enough to lock it up so that he now costs twice as much. Now, if I was playing on medium difficulty, I'd be in trouble right now. Since I'm playing on slightly easy, my market price is just still way too high. But as soon as I can buy one share of myself, I can double the price for everybody else, and so at some point I will. I'm probably going to do the off-road market first. Let's see, so we're down to 41k again, and as I spit out steel, and you'll notice I'm earning tons of steel per second, the cost of this goes down. I'm not building too many electronics, but we did just pull in the second factory, which probably... Okay, so all of them have auto supply on if you turn on one thing. Somebody dropped pirates in the middle of my shit. Bastards! All of my glass is getting pirated to somebody else's supply.
Oh.
What a bunch of a-holes. That's where my glass is going.
Do they just last a certain amount of time and then
Yes.
they're gone?
These pirates will be here for... I don't know if it actually tells you how long, but they'll be there for core sample. It reveals a new resource and an empty tile. And this one is an anonymous auction, so I'll do this once just to make somebody else spend some money, but I have no desire to buy this. So we'll just let this one play itself out. So what are we doing good at right now? I need the steel desperately, or I would use it. My fuel is automatically turning into income. I guess my oxygen can too. Let's just turn that into money. And water. I don't need any of that crap. All of that should just be auto-sold for dollars. Now, if I research transportation, which would require a patent lab, I could get around these pirates and I would never have to worry about them again. But that's probably going to be overreacting a little bit. Mostly what I just need are dollars.
Does the music change at all based on events that are going on, or is it always just sort of this very dramatic...
I think it's always this very dramatic, like...
Cloudcraft was
drama in space!
Cloudcraft was suggesting that that if like the pirates arriving changed the music or something like that, that could be pretty cool.
Probably. They don't do it. It would probably be cool. I am actually... Okay, so I could build a metal mine because I'm consuming more iron than I'm producing, but it's super cheap. So that's actually kind of a bad use of my tile.
Chronotosis is suggesting that the pirates are probably the Firefly crew, so it's probably okay that we let them have some of our glass.
Sure. Let's see. How are we doing on power? Is my thing still knocked out? No, it's back now, but I'm consuming crap tons of power anyway, because I've just scaled up my operations. So I might actually just claim another random geothermal vent, because that's the most space-efficient thing I can do. That is actually going to use a bunch of my resources, though. They use 120 steel, which, if I sat on it for a little bit longer, I could use to build an off-road market. And so it's like, how much more debt do I want to accrue before I expand? So you are really just, you're faced with business problems, but you get there by a game, and interesting effects, and drama, and music.
It's going to take you enough time to get the electronics you need that maybe, and you're spitting out steel so fast.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe you can spend the steel.
I like the way you think, Geoffrey. Let's do it. Do I want that one or that one? You don't actually have to transport electricity for robots. So we'll just plop this down over here. That's costing me a claim, so I've only got 2 more tiles ever. And I know that the 72k debt is because I'm consuming a lot of power right now, so that's actually going to be what solves that. It's time.
You ready for the off-road market?
It's off-road market time. All right, so this is like all of the money in the game comes from this. Why are you turned off? Oh, because I said I would sell all my water. Haha, didn't mean that. Let's not auto-sell anymore. How do I turn that off? Is that... Okay, there we go. So now this is producing oxygen again, which I can continue to auto-sell. Off-road market, go! Let's plop you down right there and immediately goon squad this, because people will try and blow it up. In certain games you can actually disguise stuff as other stuff, and I can make this look like electronics or whatever. But I'm really short on claims, and bribing the UN is still pretty cheap, so we're doing that. So now I can get 2 claims.
Once you have a goon squad that gets hit by somebody, do you lose the goon squad?
Yes, you have to rebuy it, and the price keeps going up. In one game, I had goon squads cost 100,000 to buy.
Wow.
Because it's like this crazy exponential curve. All right, so once that is built, and it actually announces to the whole world that I have one, because they have that dramatic of an effect on the game.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So now I can build my hacker array too, which I probably won't. So here's the thing, do I want to even play with patents at all? And thus I now have to participate in the chemical economy? Do I want optimizations, which let me just earn more resources with the same facilities, but again require chemicals? Or hackers, which just let me spend money to make the stuff I'm already working on sell better? All of these are like potential choices.
It seems like the third one lines up with the kind of the way you've been handling things so far.
Yeah, when I play robots, I tend to just sort of stick with the basic resources. So we'll probably do a hacker array over here, so it doesn't get hit by AoEs that are already hitting my off-road market. Now I only have one claim left, and you can run double off-road markets, and so that's basically my plan in the long run, is to do that. In the short
So
term,
can the off-road market only be doing like a certain amount of stuff at once?
it's basically, yeah, you can only do X launches per unit time. I'm also the only one who hasn't bought all of my own shares yet. That seems dumb.
You're falling behind.
I tend to like lag behind in the mid game and then like leapfrog past the end game. Also, we do have a pretty good set of resource stores. I have way more glass than I will ever need right now, and I can make 21 grand just like that by selling it. That silicon's not doing great, but this extra steel is. Actually, I'm gonna let that steel sit because I want to build a second market.
Yeah.
So we'll sell 100 glass, and then buy my own share. And now I cost $30 to buy a share, and I've locked that up.
So Silent Wolf just paid me the best compliment I've ever received.
Wow.
By saying that basically that our stream is so on time, is so clockwork, that he uses it to remind him to pick up his kid.
Wow. I'm glad we can help you in this way.
No, that's awesome. It's just because, for me, doing things on a schedule is actually incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
That's not something that comes naturally to me. I tend to just be sort of chill and like, oh, whatever's right in front of me is the thing I'll be doing. And so, yeah, doing something on a schedule is really hard. And so the fact that this is working so well, I mean, I think I've only missed 3 streams this year, and I was only really super late for one of them, and it was this week.
Yep.
Because I was in the middle of a conversation with an artist and just lost track of time.
These things happen.
But still, like, so I feel really good that it's been that consistent.
Yep. So I just turned on automatic fuel shipments to space. So every time one of these happens, I will earn 35 grand. And now I need 18 grand of seed funds to make that happen, so I will have to send some resources. Once I've got that going, we'll just start seeing the money fly in. So it's about to get exciting. Let's sell off. I don't need this really. Don't need this really. I do need the steel, but I only need 400 of it, so let's sell the 40 I don't. And then I don't need that extra glass. Do I need electronics? Oh, I can just do that now. Holy crap. Okay. I want to build this, but I actually need to let the shipment go first because it needs slightly more money than I have in my pocket to take off.
So folks are complaining about the music being kind of excessively loud. I'm wondering, we should probably click the middle of that thing right there on the screen to make that
Down to 3 or 2?
Yeah, down to 3. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. Let's leave it there. See how people feel about the music.
Tell us how things are, and we
Because
can make them better
I've
for
turned
you.
my headphones down super, super low because they used to be blowing me out all the time, and so I probably can't tell that it's as loud as it is. So yeah.
Yeah, just keep
I
us
hope
up
you've
to
been able to hear us at all. Cloudcraft was wondering, is there like a macro split to this game? Do you feel like there's different levels to it, or is it all kind of one level?
It's pretty much the same level of mostly macro. Not quite as macro as... Well, actually, yeah, I guess it is. It is the same decisions you'd be making as macro decisions in other games, but they're the whole game, so it doesn't feel that way.
So it feels like you're playing micro all the time.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ooh, I could just win a free optimization center. Or I'd have to bid on it.
Yes, it's not free.
But it's like it's a tile and a building, and it's done already.
Oh, wow.
And so this is going to get super expensive. There's also a solar flare right now, so everything that takes in the sunlight is just overjuiced.
In a good way or a bad way?
Your solar panels just produce way more power.
Cool.
I would have bought that building, but I need this money to get my off-road launch to go. So once I've gotten one off-road launch, the whole game's going to start to change. And you can even see people are buying each other's stock a little bit right now.
So folks are saying that the problem with
Right, so look what
the
just
music
happened.
was loud enough, it's like talking to us in a bar. So what?
Oh, so I just made 55 grand,
Wow.
33 of which was profit.
That is so much larger than anything you've
Like,
earned
the order
so
of
far.
magnitude is just... Now you can understand why I wanted to build 2 of those.
That's what. So this explains apparently why there was like a Dutch East India Company, or it's like,
as soon as you can
you
sell
can
it-
sell things in England or in Holland or
But if
whatever.
you're the first guy to sell them to an external market,
You're just like
it's just arbitrage writ large. Like you're selling it like a 10 to 20x profit margin, which is crazy
That's
pants.
nuts.
So I bought another goon squad. I will build another market. I will immediately goon squad it. I still have enough money for seed funds for future stuff, so we're now going to automatically trigger fuel supplies, and oxygen's trading pretty well too, so we can automatically queue that up as need be. And then finally, I will say, let's see. So fuel is actually really expensive to earn to buy right now. So I can use my hacker array that I built to decrease the value of fuel so that I can buy it cheaper and make a bigger profit selling it to space. And since I'm making a lot of steel myself and I want to sell that, now that I'm tapped out on tiles, I actually want there to be a shortage so I can sell more of it. So you can queue a bunch of the stuff up all at once. So now that I have my hacker array and a pile of money, we're just going to completely... we're going to just project our will into the market.
So for a while, you were making fuel and selling it locally, so you wanted the price high.
Right.
Now you're buying fuel and selling it off-world, so you want it low.
Because the price locally doesn't affect the price in space. And this is how the game works.
Oh, that's great.
So now the hacker array is going. This market is going to just keep doing that thing it just did over and over again. You'll notice I can now afford to like buy stock and stuff. You can shift click to see what it will cost to completely take somebody out of the game in one button, which is the best thing. And you actually get more tiles when you buy somebody out. Like it's just that's a small escalation.
Can this be played in multiplayer?
Yes.
So you could be taking out a human with one click.
Yep. They could be like playing crap. But when you're doing that, the game actually shows you this person has X% of the money they need to buy you out in one go. And that's the only way and the AI will always be like buying little bits here and there. Also, soon I'll actually be able to start paying down my debt. And by paying down, I mean I will basically blow it away in one click in about 2 minutes.
Well, once you get up to the 96 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both going up, but I think your cash on hand's going up faster. Oh, except you just got a bunch of debt all at once.
What happened?
I don't know.
Why all this?
Oh, no, you didn't. No, it just changed units. Sorry. It just started putting through a K on the end.
Yeah, no, we're earning.
Yeah.
We're earning pretty well right now. He just got a water engine, so they no longer care about fuel. I just made 56 grand more for buying all that fuel off-world. Let's shift-click all my debt away. Done. My stock price dropped up a couple bucks, and will now continue escalating for a little while as my debt rating gets dramatically better.
So Silent Wolf brings up the fact that you can lose so abruptly is kind of the thing he doesn't like. That do you think that there might be a method?
You do get to know. You can tell in advance how close people are to being able to buy you, and you can do stuff about it by like having more resources on hand and increasing your value, which increases your stock price, paying down your debt. Buying shares in their company will sometimes help. I don't think you can pause in multiplayer. I don't think you can change the speeds, which completely changes the experience.
Probably changes the game entirely.
To the point where I wouldn't even really have fun anymore. Because I don't like making quick, uninformed decisions. I like plotting and basically being a Bond villain in games. So now, let's see, I think we have the steel shortage is coming up in a couple of seconds. And I have 600 steel. So we're going to see a really awesome thing happen, except, someone just knocked out a bunch of my buildings again.
Oh no!
Yeah, so the power surge can still work if you have a... Oh no, I must have gotten hit twice.
Hi, Dan31. You made it to the last, no minutes of
Are we already done?
We're pretty much done with the time. But I want to say, Chronotosis, I'm with you in that I am terrible at I love RTSs in theory, but I am terrible at playing them against people. I get completely annihilated, mostly just because I can't multitask. Like, I can be good at shooters because, you're doing one thing at a time, which is aiming your gun and jumping your person around. But yeah, an RTS like this can't.
No, it's not fun. If you want to see this game competitively, maybe get Peter Lim to get really good at it.
Yes.
And then you can watch him play.
So yeah, next week, by the way, I'm planning on getting Peter Lim in here to show me how to play Overwatch because it's gonna officially get released.
Overwatch is pretty awesome. All right, so I think we might be hitting the price spike on steel, and we can go out and making a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, let's do that.
So blam, 66 grand of that. But
now we're totally out of debt. We're getting all this cash on hand. It's crazy. All right, cool.
That's Offworld Trading Company.
That is Offworld Trading. Thank you so much, Brian, for coming in here to show us this game.
This was a lot of fun. It's very different. It's worth checking out if you guys like RTSs some of the time and wish you saw somebody doing anything different. This is different, and it's by the guy who did Civ 4, Soren Johnson. So definitely, please support those guys and this game. It is an awesome endeavor, and I really hope they succeed.
I bought it.
I bought it too.
Okay, well, thanks. Let's do our. You're in charge of the awkward sign off.
What is the button I click?
You hit broadcast up there, and then you click the Twitch thing.